again, class. This is going to be lesson for today. The lesson for today will be September 15th. We're going over Unit 1, Lesson 10, talking more about bases and heights of triangles. Go into My Class for your Canvas app. Now, as always, I'd like to start with our digital notebook. So there's a couple ways we can get there. We can either get there from here on the home page, or we can get there through the playlist, and we're going to start using the playlist a little bit more. So let's go there this way. So right here you can see a link to our digital notebook. Again, we're using our new playlist. I've updated a lot of stuff. You've got your YouTube channel, my contact information, your counselor information, military friendly life coach, extra help time, the homeroom forms, whatever you need to do, lunch if you're in my homeroom, and anything else that's going on, this week's homework assignment, and then the link to the Google Drive if you're trying to turn in any of the bonus material. So digital notebook again. All right. Once again, going to Unit 1. You can either get there from this side, clicking the link, or you can just scroll down here on the left side, which I'm going to do right now. So we've talked about our vocabulary terms over the last several days. Once again, I'm going to go to this one again, talking about base and height. We know that between the base and the height of any triangle, you have to have a perpendicular angle. Okay? I'm going to come over here again to our formula. We can see that the triangle formula is base times height divided by 2. Again, has to be perpendicular to each other. Your base and your height must be perpendicular, form that right angle, that 90-degree angle. Okay? Right. So we are going to go back to Canvas. And we see that we are on Tuesday, the 15th. Here's the stuff that we're going to be doing for today. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there through the modules today. There's several different ways that we can get there, but we're going to go through the module. I'm sorry. Okay, now I can see our task and the cooldown. Then there is a bonus for today if you wanted to do that one. So let's go ahead and go to the task. Choosing it down here. Oh, I'm so sorry. Before we get to that, I wanted to show you an example of something first. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. That is on Mr. Tidwell. Okay, so here we have a couple of different triangles, and I just want to show you some of the things that we have talked about previously, but I want to review them. So any side of your triangle can be a base. So if I want this one to be my base, then all I have to have is for my height has to be perpendicular to it. So as long as this is a perpendicular angle, I can use this as my height. Now we can see very clearly that if I'm using this as my base, well, if I try to use this as my height, the angle between the two of them is not 90 degrees. That is not a 90-degree angle. So I cannot use that as my base. Same thing over here. If I try and use, I'm sorry, there's only 3 sides, so that works. If I'm using this one, it works because I've got that 90-degree angle, okay? Now, I could choose a different base. I could choose this side to be my base. Now, if I try to look at these angles, this one is not 90 degrees and this one is not 90 degrees. So there's no way I could use either of these lines. I can't use this one and I can't use this one as my height because it does not have a 90-degree angle between the base and the height. So I'm going to have to make one. This one would form a 90-degree angle, so I could use this as my height. So same thing with this triangle. Let's look at this one. I can use any side as my base as long as it is a right angle to my height. Now this is the same triangle, it's just flipped. So let's say I'm going to use this side as my base. Well, in that case, if that's the side I'm using as my base, then I'm going to use this side as my height because I do have that perpendicular angle between these two sides. Okay, even though it's flipped on its side, as long as I have that 90-degree angle, that's all that I need. Same thing with this one. We've seen this one yesterday. If I'm going to use this one as my base, there's no way that I could try and use either of these lines to be my height, because this angle is not 90 degrees and this angle is not 90 degrees. Where these two lines meet right here is not 90 degrees. Where these two lines meet over here is not 90 degrees, so I can't use those. I need to have a height that when they meet, it is perpendicular. It gives me that 90-degree angle. Okay? So just a review of what we talked about yesterday, but it's really important. Now I'm going to go back into today's assignment. I know I got ahead of myself earlier. Sorry about that. So this time I'm going to go into calendar. And again, you can get there multiple ways, okay? I'm going to click on today's date, which would be the 15th, because that's the lesson that we're on. And I can see that today, 9 TAC 15, my assignment is Unit 1, Lesson 10. And then after I'm done with that, then I've got my cool down. Select on that, and then I've got my task for today. Okay, so right here we said base and heights. So there are 3 copies of the exact same triangle. The triangle is rotated, so any side can be chosen as a base at the bottom and it's horizontal. So what I want you to do is to draw a height that corresponds to each base. So for this example, it wants you to, let's go to, we'll just say this one. Side A as the base. So it wants you to use side A as your base. So this is my base. Side A as my base. So I want you to draw a height. Okay, so my height has to be perpendicular to my base. So I can't use either of these lines. This is not a 90-degree angle. This is not a 90-degree angle. So I can't use either of these lines. So I have to draw a height. I'm going to go right from the vertex, which is the top of the triangle, and that gives me my 90 degrees. So now I have drawn my height. Remember, it has to be a right angle to your base. In this case, the base was A. That was my base. I drew a right angle to it, okay? Now I'm going to go down to the bottom. Okay, draw a line segment to show the height of the chosen base for each of these triangles. So you're going to do the exact same thing that I did before, but you're going to have to do it for each one of these triangles. And it tells you which one to use as a base. So I'm going to give you an example for 2 of them. Let's choose C, because C can be a little tricky. If B is my base, even though it doesn't show it, I can't use this as my angle. It looks like that might be 90 degrees, but you can see that it's actually more than a 90-degree angle. So what I have to do, this one's a little tricky. I have to draw my base like this. Now you could also draw your 90-degree angle down here too if you wanted. But this is my base coming all the way up to the top. That would be my height right there. Okay? And I'm going to choose one more as an example. I'm going to choose this one. Sometimes this ones can be complicated, or they seem complicated only because they're on their side. Okay, so this is my base down here. This angle where it meets the base is not 90 degrees. I can't use this one. This angle is not 90 degrees, so I can't use that one. So I've got to make my own. And have to draw it coming from the vertex of the triangle, coming straight down to the base, and forming a 90-degree angle right there. So that would be my height for that particular base. And then at the bottom, just doing some simple math. We're just trying to find the base and height of these triangles. So, and then finding the area using our base and height. So we'll just do an example for A, where we remember the formula. So I'm going to write it out one more time. Area equals base times height divided by 2. The base with this one is the one that's at the bottom. So that's my base. I already see that since it's on the grid, it gives me that nice right angle right here. So I can use that line as my height. So for the value for my base, I'm just going to count it out since it's on the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So base of 9 and my height. Sorry guys, it's my finger. I apologize. Okay, so I've got my base of 9 times my height. I just got to count that out for the grid. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 9 times 5 divided by 2. So 9 times 5 is 45 divided by 2. Oops, I wrote the wrong number there. Sorry about that. And I know you guys can do the long division. So that would be 22.5 units cubed. Okay, that would be the answer for A. All right, so we're going to do that for all of those. And the other ones are a lot simpler. That's why I left more of that in there. Okay, so once you are done with this, once you're done with your task, submit that into Canvas. You need to do your cool down. And then if you have any extra time today, please make sure you're working on your missing work. And don't forget, we have a test this week on Wednesday that is going to be your first major test grade. So please make sure you are reviewing your information and preparing well for that. All right, guys, thank you very much. I will see y'all tomorrow.